Hello and welcome to My Newt News. I'm not a newt. My name is not Newt, but you can call me Newt. And the more perceptive of you will have discovered, figured out, conceived of the notion that this is a response video to a Jimmy Dore show video. Before I go any further, I'm going to say, if you like what I do here, like and subscribe. If you have a comment, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, I'd appreciate you leaving it. Now, Jimmy Dore. I like Jimmy Dore. I don't necessarily always agree with Jimmy Dore, but I like the fact that when he sees what he perceives as BS, even though it may be on his team, that he'll call it out. And I like that. Now, I don't agree with him. For instance, apparently he has a relative as a police officer, which has led him to believe that all police officers are scum. I, on the other hand, am related to a police officer. My relative was a good cop. They're retired now. And, you know, my dealings with cops lead me to believe that the vast majority of them range from good to adequate. And are there some that are scum? Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't take any group of people and not have some bad outliers and have some good outliers. But I think the majority go into it with good intentions. Now, do they always live up to that? Probably not. Anyway, Jimmy Dore on here, he's talking, he's responding. My response to his response to a Nation article and a video here. Russian strike kills foreign fighters in Ukraine, and he and the other gentleman discuss the term legionnaire, foreign legionnaire. My take on it is that they use the word foreign legionnaires because they didn't want to use the term mercenaries because that has certain legal complications involved in it.
It says a Russian strike kills foreign fighters in Ukraine. 2 German volunteer fighters said many of their fellow foreign legionnaires had been killed in the bombing and estimated the death toll at over 200. So those are what you would call those mercenaries, right?
Yes.
Or let's say they're volunteers, so they're not being paid.
No, I'm sure they're being
So that
paid.
a mercenary is paid, but so they're volunteers.
Foreign legionnaires, does that mean the Ukrainian Foreign Legion, or is that like what is
The German Foreign Legion? I don't know.
But there are people that are going to. I saw.
And regardless, I mean, you can go and watch this on your own and see if I'm full of crap. But I wanted to get to this video that he reacts to.
In Ukraine. And so Alex Rubinstein tweeted this out. He says, American volunteer in Ukraine. So this is an American who's volunteering to fight in Ukraine. He describes how foreigners who flocked over to the country to fight Russia are being used as cannon fodder and are threatened by Ukrainian forces with murder if they refuse to deploy on suicide missions. So here we go. I want to listen. Here we go.
So for anyone who are wondering what is going on, all right, we were part of the Georgian National Legion, the 102nd Ukrainian Territorial Defense, okay? Our base got fucked up. The base right next to us got fucked up. Americans, British, tons of British dead, all right? They're not saying nothing. They're counting our dead as their dead. They're trying to send us to Kiev with no fucking weapons, no kit, no fucking plates. The people who are lucky enough to get weapons are only getting magazines with like 10 fucking rounds, okay? When they wanted to send us to Kiev, we said no. Our whole group, a bunch of Americans, Canadians, British. So they told us we had to get the fuck out or they were going to shoot us in the back, all right? So me, this British guy, and another American, we fucking hid in the back of an ambulance to get out. We got to the border, and it was a whole nother mess. When you get to the border, anyone who has kit, anyone who has any military shit, they're fucking pulling you out of the line and they're sending you back to the front. We got dropped off about 5 clicks from the fucking, from the border, and we walked. And we get to the border, and this humanitarian group with a bunch of ex-SF veterans from England pull us to the side and say, you need to get, like, pulled us out and fucking, like, hit us. And they were like, you need to dump all your kit. And they're pulling people out, cutting up passports, sending them back. So we dumped our shit. We got, like, in all of our fucking, we got in, like, Red Cross vests, and they had, like, fucking humanitarian passes to get us through the Ukrainian border. People need to stop coming here. It's a trap, and they're not letting you fucking leave. The best way to leave is like in a Vic or a car or something. People who get on by vehicle have a better chance of hiding their fucking kit in the back, doing whatever the fuck they can, but do not try to leave Ukraine on foot if you're a volunteer. It's a mess, and it's a trap, and I have multiple people who can confirm this story for me.
Wow. So I don't know what people think when they were going over there, but they're literally dealing with Nazis. So the Ukraine military has Nazis officially part of their military. For real.
Hey, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want.
And so these...
Okay. Now, so, of course, Jimmy is coming out basically saying the Ukrainians are bad. And I'm not going to say they're good. The thing is that a lot of times when you have two groups fighting each other, we have a binary tendency. We tend to say one group is good, one group is bad. And we gloss over the bad in the good group, gloss over the good, or emphasize the bad in the bad group. And you know what? I got news for you. Like if the Crips and Bloods get in a fight, I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't think that either of them are good. Now, are the Russians wrong for invading Ukraine? Yes. Have the Ukrainians done bad things in attacking the Russian speakers in Donbass and basically trying to knock down their little independence revolution? Yes. So I'm not going to say either are good, but in this fight, I'm going to say that the Ukrainians are better than the Russians. Now, would it be a good idea if UN peacekeepers had been put into the Donbass region, in 2014? Yeah, I think that would have been a good idea. Wouldn't it have been a good idea if these world organizations that are supposed to promote peace actually did something worthwhile? But anyway, getting back to this, and I'm going to move this back just to show this guy. Now, just to play devil's advocate, and of course he's saying that, oh my God, they didn't have equipment for us. I mean, hello, they're fighting for their lives. They're having huge losses on the battlefield. They're bringing people in, anybody that they can lay their hands on. Well, they didn't have kit for us and they didn't have plates for us. Well, what do you expect? First of all, just because the United States Army issues you with $5,000 worth of equipment, rifle and sight and helmet, Kevlar helmet, body armor with ceramic plates, just because that happens in the U.S., you're an idiot if you expect that to happen in Ukraine. I mean, face it, Ukraine is probably on the mid-upper scale of third world, well, okay, not third world countries, but probably the upper scale of third world countries because they're not rich. And after being in combat for a month, fighting off a larger invading force from a larger country, you expect them to be able to provide you with everything that you get in the United States Army? That's crazy. You're an idiot. And second of all, look at it from the Ukrainian guy's point of view. You've got these people coming in, these disaster tourists. Look at this guy. I mean, I hate to pick on people for how they look, but he don't look skinny. He doesn't look like he's missed any meals. And if you're Yuri in the Ukraine and you've been fighting for the last month, maybe you get a meal every couple days or every other day, or you're scrambling for a meal and you haven't had a shower in a long time and you've been in combat and your mom and sisters and little brother have all evacuated, gone to Poland with only the clothes on their back, girlfriend, you don't know what happened to her, your ex-girlfriend got killed when the Russians bombed the maternity hospital, your unit started out with 125 guys and now you're down to 40 because all the rest have been killed or maimed by the Russians. And then in rolls these foreigners that are 15 pounds overweight that probably were eating Cheetos and playing World of Warcraft last week, and they come in and they have this idea that when I was in the American Army, in Afghanistan or Iraq, you know, one bullet came our way and we'd bring in the A-10s and destroy them and the artillery and the rocket fire. Well, you know what? The Ukrainians don't have all of that. They started out poor and they have not gotten richer in this combat. And if you're going in there and expecting, well, I think that I should get a bulletproof vest with a plate in it, and, oh, well, I don't want to go on this mission because it sounds dangerous. Well, what the hell do you think war is? You know, you volunteered. Here these people are fighting for their survival. You know, how many of their friends and relatives have they seen killed and blown apart and bloody chunks splattered up against the side of their head while it happened? And here you are, this fat Westerner coming in going, well, that sounds dangerous. Well, what the fuck do you think war is? You went there to help them fight a war. And it's not World of Warcraft. And it's not the American way of war where there's only a few guys at the very pointy point of the spear that are in danger, and when they get in any danger, that we start bombing the hell out of the people shooting at them. Well, you know, the Ukrainians can't do that. You went in there with severely unrealistic expectations. You expected to be the white savior going to help, which of course the people there are also white, so okay. But you went in there thinking that, oh, it's an adventure, and then you stared the Grim Reaper in the face and you said, we don't want to go. What, you want to send us to where the combat is very intense and we're likely to get killed? No way. I got news for you. In any combat situation, if in Afghanistan, for instance, if you had somebody join the United States Army from some other country, say, I don't know, Guatemala, we'll just use Guatemala. Not that I have anything against the Guatemalans, but, you know, thinking that, hey, you know, I'll join the Army, and you get deployed to Afghanistan and, you know, they say, okay, well, we're going to send you out on a night patrol, and you're like, I don't know, that sounds dangerous. That's like a suicide. No, I don't think I'm going to go. Are you going to be threatened with repercussions? Oh, hell yes. And to say that, well, they threatened to shoot us in the back. Well, what do you expect if you join a military and you refuse an order because you're afraid? They're going to consider you a traitor or a coward, especially some guy that's been in this shit for the last month and has seen a lot of his friends killed, and then here these disaster tourists come in. Well, we want to be here and fight, but we don't really want to do anything dangerous. Of course they're going to say get the fuck out. Of course they are, and I don't blame them. You know, we got these World of Warcraft guys going in with unrealistic expectations. They're basically just wasting the Ukrainians' time. You know, okay, well, we got you in here and we got you some ammo. You know, we scraped everything we could. You know, I got news for you. The Ukrainians, they're picking up Russian tanks. They're going around after combat and picking up ammo and picking up weapons. They're that desperate. And for you to go in there, you know, with your fancy haircut, you know, your brand new clothes and well-fed, no, they're not going to like you. They're not going to be happy with you, and I don't flippin' blame them. Be an adult, be real, and don't go over there. I agree with him, you know. Don't go over there. Oh, it's a trap. If you volunteer to go into combat, you expect to see combat and risk your life. Oh, they're just kind of trying to use you as cannon fodder. Well, I got news for you. Any foot soldier carrying a rifle into an environment that has tanks in it and active enemy aircraft, you're cannon fodder. Whether it's your country or somebody else's country that you volunteer for. I think you got what you deserved and you got out lucky. I don't know. I don't know whether it's a generational thing or if it's just a first world problems. You know, you're expecting action and adventure and, oh my God, what do you mean I could get killed? What do you expect? Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit more Jimmy while I calm down.
Chance of hiding their fucking kit in the back, doing. I have.
The Ukraine military has Nazis officially part of their military. For real.
Hey, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want.
The propaganda, and they think they're going over to fight the bad guy, which is Putin.
Well,
And
they also might have heard we gave like $1 jillion so that there would be those supplies there.
yeah, we gave him
Like
$10
I
billion.
heard.
Maybe that guy should have bullets.
Well, and just because the Congress designates that money to, bureaucracy, it has to weave through the bureaucracy. For instance, as far as I know, the Ukrainians, for the most part, are using AK-74s, which fire a 5.45 by 39 millimeter round. The Western world, as far as I know, I don't know of any Western country, Western European, United States, that uses that ammunition. So either they're making it there in the Ukraine, they're using their own stocks in the Ukraine, or they're doing battlefield pickups from the Russians. And unless you kill somebody or they drop their rifle, you're not getting their rifle and you're not getting their ammunition. The tanks that they're finding either blown up or abandoned, or the armored personnel carriers, they're carrying away their small weapons. There may be a mounted machine gun, but I believe the Russians are using the 7.62 by 54R ammo for those, so it's different ammo from the rifle ammo. So yeah, maybe they don't have a lot of ammo. Maybe they don't have a gun for everybody. You're going in with these rich first world expectations, and you're going into a combat zone in a second or upper tier third world nation. What the hell do you expect, you idiot?
So, boy, I can't wait to see more of those interviews. There's
going to be a bunch.
And, I understand that Jimmy thinks that the Ukrainians are bad guys too. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to 100% argue with that. I think that there are a lot of bad actors in that country. From what I understand, a lot of what they did in the Donbass was bad. I know that it's a very corrupt country, a lot of bribery, a lot of jiggery-pokery going on. But on the other hand, just from a realpolitik viewpoint, do we want to let Russia conquer them and set up a puppet regime there? Because if you'll look at a map, the western part of the Ukraine is really poking into Eastern Europe. And then there's another thought that, okay, so they take the eastern part, they take Kiev, and a lot of partisans move out to Western Ukraine and start sniping and doing terrorist attacks against the Russian occupation force. Well, then, right on the border of Western Europe or Eastern Europe, then you've got low-intensity insurgency war with a lot of refugees and a lot of people getting killed because the Russians, they're going to start doing stuff, bombing civilians, taking hostages, executing people that they think might be partisans. Anti-guerrilla, anti-partisan combat is not pleasant. It's not pretty. And if you've got that going on the border of Eastern Europe, that's going to cause problems. So I definitely agree that we should probably support the Ukrainians, not necessarily because they're good guys, 100%, but just because letting the Russians win would be worse. On the other hand, Volodymyr Zelensky is wanting us to do a no-fly zone, and a lot of people say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, because I think that they don't realize what a no-fly zone is. That means American and European, Polish, whoever, British, fighter planes going in and shooting down Russian fighter planes, fighter bombers, helicopters that fly into that zone. And that's a very strong recipe for starting World War III. And I got news for you. I feel sorry for the Ukrainians, especially the population. They're getting the stinky end of the stick. But does that mean that I think that's worth having an American city nuked? Nope, I sure don't. There is nothing going on in Ukraine that is worth seeing Seattle, Los Angeles, Miami nuked, or Tulsa, or Oklahoma City, or Lincoln, Nebraska. None of them. Nothing in Ukraine is worth having an American city nuked. But I do agree with kind of cracking down on the Russians monetarily and with sanctions. I think that's a good idea. That's valid. But as far as sending Americans into harm's way or risking nuclear war, should we be prepared for it? Yes. Should we be firm with the Russians? To an extent, yes. But then we've got the president is negotiating with the Iranians to continue to reinstate that nuclear deal, and they're negotiating through the Russians. So how exactly does that work? Well, we're sanctioning you, but we want your help. We're trying our best to ruin your economy, but we want your help in setting up this deal with the Iranians. What? What the hell? That doesn't make any sense at all. And a lot of people were shocked when he called the Saudis and they wouldn't even answer his call because he wanted them to increase oil production. One of the Saudis' existential threats is Iranians with nuclear weapons. If this nuclear deal, as a lot of people say, looks likely to make it more likely that the Iranians end up with nuclear weapons, gee, I wonder why the Saudis didn't want to up their oil production. Because if we're trying to make a deal with the Iranians that would eventually end up with the Iranians having a nuclear weapon, the Saudis sure don't want that. And why would they help us after that? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it on that. Like and subscribe if you like what I ranted here today, or if you don't like it, or if you like it, or you have some other comment, leave a comment. There's some of my other videos here. If you take a look, I appreciate it. If not, thanks for watching today. Have a good one. Bye.